Welcome back to another edition of the Greatest Wedding Show by Crown DJs. And if you're new to the stream, my name's Derek, and I'm a professional party starter with Crown DJs located here in Lincoln, Nebraska. This is the show that I do weekly right here on YouTube, and we just switched up the time that we're going to do it, the day, the time. I know we're a couple minutes, like a half hour later than usual, but we're going to do it every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central Time. And I appreciate you for stopping by. And if this is the first time that you're watching the show, just introduce yourself to the chat. Share your wedding date, what location you're having at, specifically the venue, if you can. And we'll check out the venue right here on the show if I haven't seen it before. And just any questions that you guys have, feel welcome to type those in here. Wherever you're at in the wedding planning process and can use some help, just share it with us and we'll see what we can do. If I can't personally help you, I'll bring on a guest next time who can. For those of you that prefer audio over video, you can always catch the show wherever you listen to podcasts shortly after we do it on YouTube. Just search for The Greatest Wedding Show by Crown DJs and you'll be able to listen to the show there. It's usually uploaded within the next week. Like next day preferably, but within the next few days. On today's show, you're going to see my thought process on building a set list live in the DJ booth around a song like Olivia Rodrigo's Good For You. And then I'm going to talk about having a wedding day on something other than a Saturday. And my last topic for the day will sort of pile on for a topic from last week's show, and it's specifically about party buses. But before I get into today's show, I just wanted to thank everyone that came to the Talon Room on Sunday for this year's Summer Wedding Gala and give a bigger shout out to Matt Rogge for having us a part of it. This was our 5th time a part of the show. We talked to a few couples that are in the planning process, and it's such a rewarding experience when they come and they just decide on the spot, you know what, we want Crown DJs to be our wedding and at our wedding and rock the party. We're able to fill a couple of dates that were literally right around the corner in the fall time. And that's a huge blessing because usually those are openings that this late in the game don't really fill up. So, and then my last shout out goes to Amanda L. We won't say her last name, but she was randomly selected from our drawing to win a $100 Target gift card. And our second place winners we picked 2, Lawrence L. and Madison K., who both won a $100 booking credit that can be applied to having Crown DJs at their wedding. There was one particular conversation that I had at Sunday's event that I couldn't really just shrug off. There was a lady there that said she reached out to me about April or May to get pricing, and I talked to her on the phone, and she says she booked someone else because they were cheaper. But then when I asked who she went with, she said she couldn't even remember his name. She just remembers that he was cheaper, and I had to bite my tongue. Why? Because why would you book a service for such a memorable event in your life if all you were focused on was how cheap it was? I get that planning a wedding is expensive, but there are some things that you can't skimp on. However, for this particular bride-to-be, the party was clearly not that important to her. And to her, I say, why even book a DJ in the first place? Let's get to the show. We'll slide over. Now, by now, you guys have probably heard the hit song Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo. So far in 2020, it's by far the biggest hit at weddings. And it really reminds me of what Lizzo's song Truth Hurts did to dance floors at weddings about 2 years ago, like almost 2 years to date. Because if you think about it, Both songs are kind of anti-wedding songs, and yet here they are, must plays at pretty much every wedding right now. But the biggest comparison that I have between these two songs is that they really get the ladies to stop what they're doing, dead in their tracks, and scream every lyric, word for word, at the top of their lungs. So anytime there's a hit song that comes out and proves to be a real showstopper, like Good For You's been, like Truth Hurts, I like to take that one song and digest it and really build around it so that the dance floor stays lit for more than just one song. To me, Good For You is reminiscent of those, alternate rock or punk pop hit songs from about 15 years ago with singers like Avril Lavigne, Pink, Kelly Clarkson, but especially bands like Paramore, because Olivia Rodrigo sounds so much like their lead singer Hayley Williams, it's ridiculous. So if you've been playing this song on repeat all summer, then you can turn the clock back ever so slightly to the mid 2000s. Then you'll rediscover some music that you probably didn't realize you were missing. Songs like Still Into You by Paramore, Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne, My Life Would Suck Without You by Kelly Clarkson, So What by Pink, Die Young by Kesha. These are some of the most obvious ones. Then I might go digging even deeper into my crates and throw on one or two of the following, like Everybody Talks by Neon Trees, Drive By by Train, Tonight Tonight by Hot Shell Ray, Good Girls Go Bad, Cobra Starship, Shake It by Metro Station, Stacy's Mom by Fountains of Wayne, Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus. Now, I would literally play these songs for you, but because of copyright and the algorithms of YouTube, I would get flagged. So all I can do is really just play the video right here without any audio, which I hope you're not getting drowned out right now. I should probably check on that. We're good. But so far I've listed off 12 songs now, and I'm just building out my DJ process, but you might think we're taking a big leap to go from Still Into You to Good Girls Gone Bad, because one song is clearly got that pop punk style where the other is pretty much just pop. But if you're old enough to remember the clubs back in 2008, this song and others, even the radio, honestly, Still Into You and Good Girls Gone Bad were those extremely easy to memorize songs. And by the last chorus, you just had the entire song stuck in your head. So when I'm DJing, I don't want the songs to sound exactly like each other. The idea is to progress from the hits that are popular right now and hit the refresh button on those songs that are like 10 to 15 years old, maybe even older than that. Then the next thing you know, we're into this heavy popish rotation from the mid 2000s. And then I'll play a few songs like Fire Burning or Take You There by Sean Kingston, TikTok by Kesha, In the Air by Flo Rida, Do You Remember by Jay Sean, Kiss Me Through the Phone by Soulja Boy, Love Game by Lady Gaga. So far we've had 18 songs, and we started off with Good For You. And before you know it, this is a mix that's starting to switch over to some well-known rap songs with tracks like Lolly Lolly, 3-6 Mafia, Starships, Nicki Minaj, Gold Digger or Stronger by Kanye West, The Motto or For Free by Drake, Bad and Bougie by Migos. It might seem like this got a bit out of control, but there are some suggestions on how things can go when you start to hit songs like Good For You and then build a set or a mix around it. I just listed off 30 songs for you. And from there, I might only play 5 or 6 of them because I'm primarily focused on how well these songs go together. When I'm DJing, I'm focused on the mix to be consistent, not just with BPM, beats per minute, and style of sound, but also the message. I mean, I don't know what that says. Maybe it means I'm OCD, but the crowd loves it. They realize it. They feed into it. When the party's ready to go for it, I really like the idea of going from Good For You into So What by Pink, then Die Young by Kesha, Good Girls Go Bad, Cobra Starship, followed by Take You There, Jay Kingston. Sorry. No, Take You There by Sean Kingston. In the Air, Flow Rida. Then wrap it up with, I might play, if the crowd needs it, some rap, Lolly Lolly, 3-6 Mafia. And that's strictly just without my DJ equipment in front of me. Those are all songs that the majority of the people will know, word for word, and they aren't completely overplayed, so they're really going to get into it when it comes to the dance floor. And then also the crowd will appreciate because they haven't been listening to it every day. So whether you're a DJ or you're putting together a list of music for your DJ to play at your reception, I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to comment your songs that would pile on around Good For You, because I'm really curious what you guys come up with. Now I can slide over. If you can't tell, my backdrop's fake. And, there's a few like fuzzies right there. That's because there's a mirror directly behind, and these lights right here are making it, the mirror, like get a glare. So that glare right here, like literally right here, is making it obvious that I'm in front of a green screen. But yeah, this isn't what my place looks like. But let's carry on. Now, this might not be the most popular opinion out there since I've started doing this show, but I'm just going to come out and say it. It's okay to get married on days other than Saturdays. Fridays are great, Sundays are great, but guess what? Thursdays are some of the best weddings that I've gotten to DJ. And for the sake of the clip that we're going to post with this, I'm going to say it again. Thursdays have been some of the best weddings that I've ever gotten to DJ at. Now, just take a second to digest that, because there's probably not a lot of wedding vendors in Nebraska that are going to tell you that you should get married on a Thursday. Years ago, you'd never hear me say, get married on a Thursday. And I know for a fact that when my girlfriend, if she ever sees this video, she would refuse having her wedding on a Thursday. And that's okay, because as a male, I will have very little input when it comes to planning things like that. But the pandemic happened, and a large amount of engaged people were forced to bump their wedding date back 12 to 18 months, which caused quite a stir up on the calendar for many vendors. Many couples are getting married on dates they didn't originally expect to get married on. For Crown DJs, we just got out of one of our busiest months ever in July with 12 weddings. And in years past, July has been a pretty slow month in the middle of wedding season. And it's actually between March and October, July has always been our slowest month. Usually we'd get around 3 weddings. Now we're doing like 12, and who knows what next year will be like. But I want to say this because it's a good idea to do it on a Thursday, and it's not because it's cheaper, because first of all, it shouldn't be cheaper. At least it won't be for like our services, because the same amount of work goes into your wedding regardless of if it's a Saturday or a Thursday or even just a Monday morning. We'll book the same amount of weddings a year regardless of what day they fall on. I was talking to someone who designs wedding signs, like signs, invitations, programs for the ceremony, things like that. And she told me that somebody asked her if they can get a discount because the wedding was on a Thursday. And, you're just asking someone to make you a sign, a chalkboard sign or whatever. And, that's just ridiculous to ask for a discount, because that person who's making you that chalkboard sign isn't going to be making the sign the same day. It's the same to them whether it's on a Thursday or Saturday. And if anybody's giving you a discount for a Thursday wedding for a chalkboard sign, that's ridiculous. But there's something about Thursday night, though, that a lot of people just show up looking to have a good time, especially when it's a wedding. Just think about it. Why do they call it Thirsty Thursday in the first place? My guess, if you plan your wedding to fall on a Thursday, the majority of the guests automatically are taking off work on Friday. Your other guests that are traveling from out of town will have no problem taking off Thursday or Friday at their job, and everyone's going to enjoy themselves just as much, if not more, than they would, because they're not using their Saturday to go to your wedding. They'll show appreciation. I know when I had a friend's wedding out of town in I almost said Reno, Nebraska. When they had their wedding in Reno, Nevada, they had it to fall on a Thursday night. And then, so let's see. We arrived on Wednesday. Wedding was on Thursday. Friday, we stayed and partied. Saturday, we stayed and partied. Sunday, everybody left and went home. So we got the hard part out of the way. We had the wedding. And then the rest of the weekend was just for us to enjoy as a wedding party, the family. Everybody's there. It's just you knock the hard part out, and then the rest is just a party. It was awesome. And then for you can just leave on your honeymoon. You can be sipping Mai Tais on the beach in Cancun or Jamaica when most people are not even done walking down the aisle yet. So when you're in the wedding planning phase, what I recommend is contacting all of your vendors that you're most interested in before you even have your heart set on a wedding date. Then you get a feel for all of the vendors and what their availability is like. And as you take your tours of the venue, do your food tastings, talk to photographers, talk to DJs, you'll start to develop a sense of who you'd prefer over others, who you'd like to be a part of your love story more than others. And then you can go get the vendors that you love because you'll know exactly what date they're available. So depending on how far out you're picking your wedding date, if you choose to work with someone that's really elite and really popular in your area, then you might have to pick getting married on a different day of the week other than Friday, other than Saturday, to book all of those that you want for the same date. So what's the way around that of getting instead of getting a lesser photographer, getting a worse DJ? Well, it's booking them for a Thursday wedding. That's how. Which, that's not going to go over well with a lot of you. And then last time on the Greatest Wedding Show, I talked about how those of you who are having your wedding ceremony and your reception at the same location, you should consider starting your ceremony at a later time. Instead of doing it at 3 or 4 o'clock, you should start it at 5 or 6 p.m. But this week, I wanted to talk about those of you who are considering hiring a party bus for your wedding day when the ceremony and reception are at the same location. So it's piling on to last week's episode. And before I get started, I just want to say that I've DJ'd a lot of weddings over the years. And this is in no way to show disrespect to any of them or anyone that's considering it, okay? I just want to clear that up. But just take this scenario into consideration. You have your guest arriving at 3:30. That ceremony will last roughly 10 minutes. Immediately following the ceremony, you and your wedding party are going to dip out for 2 hours on a party bus, leaving a room full of guests till about 5:45. The wedding party is absolutely shit-faced because there were bottles of Fireball and tequila and God only knows what else being passed around on the bus. So now everyone has to pee. Nobody's listening to anything, any type of direction to keep the night moving. And we're trying to do the grand entrance when you arrive back at the venue. It's 6 o'clock and you've just been introduced. So now we're going to have the officiant say a blessing, and that's supposed to start the dinner. And then I'm supposed to start dismissing tables. But we can't move along because the wedding party's scattered out throughout the room. We got people outside smoking, someone's in the bathroom, another person sitting at a table over there, somebody's at the bar getting a drink. It's just literally, it's chaos. And, I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, you're the DJ. Just make an announcement and everyone will be seated. But it's not that easy, especially if people are in the bathroom or outside smoking. So the next thing you know, it's 6:30 and your guests basically, they've been waiting for their meal for 3 hours, okay? And this is the scenario that I see play out numerous times a month. And I'm not telling you to not get a party bus, okay? I'm not telling you to do that. Just ask yourself, is the party bus necessary? Is it really that necessary? And if your ceremony and reception are at the same location, it's probably not. Scratch off the party bus. Start your ceremony 2 hours later than you were expecting. And I guarantee you that people will be there celebrating you a lot later than if you started 2 hours earlier. So let me tell you about a real wedding that happened 2 years ago. It was literally 2 years ago, almost to the weekend. We had this wedding with an outside ceremony starting at 3 p.m. It was over 100 degrees that day. As soon as the ceremony was over, they hopped onto a bus at 3:30. All the guests went inside to the reception hall. The wedding was just right outside the reception hall. It was beautiful. The party bus didn't get back for 3.5 hours. Well, no, not the party bus. The party bus never came back. The wedding party made their way back 3.5 hours later because the bus broke down and it was a 45-minute drive away from the venue. Let's see, where was I in my notes? Several guests at the reception had to leave to go pick up members of the wedding party. And then other guests just had no idea why people were leaving. So they just left too. They were like, oh, I guess that's it. And even though I was making announcements, we're expecting the wedding party soon, kept music playing, didn't matter. People were getting annoyed. They left. So meanwhile, I had no idea that this was happening. I had no idea that the wedding party was on a bus that had broken down 45 minutes away. I had no signal in this part of the country or the state. So I couldn't even communicate with them to even find out where they were at. By the time we were ready to do the introduction, the venue was half full. Everyone there was hot. They were hungry and they were drunk, which is a terrible, terrible combo. I said conbo. It's a terrible combo. And that wedding was over. We were packing up things at 9 p.m. It just wasn't ideal. And the only way you can keep your guests happy on a hot August day is by not booking the party bus and starting a reception at least 2 hours later. This is a bad trend in Nebraska, and I feel like I need to help those of you getting married by speaking up. Is it jealousy that I wasn't invited to DJ on the party bus? Perhaps. Because my dope ass mixes are way better, 100 times better than any playlist that you're playing off of Spotify. I'm just going to throw it out there. Just kidding. But it is. This is all meant to be conversational. And if you want the party bus, then get the party bus, especially if your wedding is in a different location. Like if you're having your ceremony at a different location than your reception, get the party bus, get everybody, build morale, have shots, take shots together, pull off the dirt road, take those pictures. It is what it is. I'm not bashing party buses. But if it's all happening at the same location, then you just need to skip it and start later. Man, Backdrop just wants to say what's up to everybody. And that's it for this week's edition of the Greatest Wedding Show. I'm starting to realize that after several weekends filled with DJing and meetings, that Mondays weren't a good fit for us. So I moved it to Tuesday, simply because this was the third week in a row that I wasn't able to do it on a Monday. So we're doing it at Tuesdays for now. And honestly, I think that's why they made Wedding Wednesdays a thing, is because we're so busy on Friday and Saturday. We rest Sunday, but even then we have weddings on Sunday. And then Monday's like a recovery day. Tuesday, we're catching up from Sunday and Monday. And then by Wednesday, we finally are like, okay, I can do it. So, I'm going to look over my schedule going forward and come up with a better day. Maybe Wednesday's going to be it. For now, we're going to say Tuesdays. For some reason, I put up a new banner and it says every Monday, but the one that says Tuesday isn't showing, so whatever. But I appreciate you guys for all watching. If you enjoyed this show, tap the like button, and if you really liked it, be sure to subscribe to the Crown DJs channel right here on YouTube or wherever you're listening to podcasts. I appreciate you guys for taking the time to hang out with me digitally, and I can't wait to party with you at your wedding. I hope you guys are doing fantastic, and we'll see you next week. Greatest Wedding Show. Bye.